focus on great customer care. You know what I mean? If you can't do everything all at once, okay? So what do we got here?
I'm on page 14 of notes.
Who's that, Judy? Good
Yes.
girl, Judy. But I love what I'm seeing though. I need that time management. You know, I got 4 pages. I can't wait to go back. And this is what I love is the fact that because you made the commitment today, you have all this great training coming to you this week. So you can go back. You can go back and listen to Charisse. You can go back and, you know, mute Laura. You can go back and, do you know what I mean? But no, seriously. So this is what's great about doing these things, guys, is that we you know, we don't want you to keep reinventing the wheel unless it's something really spectacular, and then we want you to share it with us. But basically, like Linda said, which I loved from her is, you know, and we've all said it, don't do her. This took her a lot of years to build up this system by asking, getting information, but they made it their own. So take that information and make it you. That is really the whole purpose of today. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, as a newbie, this is helpful. I'm glad.
Hey, Feriale, there's some questions. There's some questions above. You have to kind of go up a little higher.
Okay. Well,
Jen, do you want to moderate?
Yeah. So why don't we have who's that? Want to have Debbie moderate or Jen moderate?
I'll moderate.
Okay.
One thing that I do want to touch on, and this is a team member in a sister organization to me. She is blind, and she has been asking for tips on how to get training, how to do virtual parties, because she can't see a lot of things. You know, obviously like videos she can listen to. So her question actually is, and whichever one of you wants to actually field this one, what was your biggest challenge with PC and how did you overcome it?
Are you going to direct that to somebody, or?
I said whichever one of you wants to take it, or if all of you want to take it, because
why don't we take turns? I'll go first. I didn't have the self-confidence. When I was sitting on my very first show, okay, and you have to understand, I thought I was going to a diaper or a lingerie party, so I wasn't thrilled to be there to begin with. And then I realized it was Pampered Chef. I thought it was called the Pampered Chef. That's the honest to God truth. I also hear with a lisp, there are problems with that. But when I went, and I'm thinking, part of me was like, oh my God, this is the answer for you. You would be great. Another part of me is like, who's gonna wanna listen to me? So for me, it was like getting my self-confidence up to go out there and make it work. So that was, you know, but, you know, I did it. I tried. I had nothing to lose with a $99 kit. That's how I looked at it. So for me, it was like getting out of my head and saying, hey, what do you have to lose for trying? And that was pretty much, you know, but for me, I was like, who's going to want to listen to me? That's why I became a chef, so I could be in the back of the house. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, we all have something that held us back.
Okay. Anybody else want to take a stab at that one, or should I go on to the next question?
I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm gonna address 2 things of what were challenges. Number 1 was something that I had control over. Well, actually I had control over both, but we were military, and when I first started selling Pampered Chef, we moved literally to an area where I didn't know a single person, and I was a nurse, and I just began asking people, and then I got comfortable there, and then I moved again, and then I built an organization in the Newport News, Yorktown area, and I had few directors down there, and then I moved again. And, you know, so it was a constant building and then rebuilding and then building and then rebuilding. A number of people would have probably given up. And I just saw it as either I'm going to make this happen or I am going to hang up my apron. And so that was a challenge for me. The other challenge for me, and this is more, those who know me will just get a little chuckle out of this. I had to become a little softer. I am I'm a pretty driven, confident woman who knows what she wants and knows the hard work that it takes to get there. And very early on in my business, I made a lot of mistakes with my team, and not really understanding that I can meet them where they are, and I can help them if they're willing to be helped. But I really truly had to soften my approach to my hostesses and not be sarcastic at my shows when people would say, well, I can get that at Walmart. I had to do a lot of just keeping my mouth shut. And that's hard sometimes for someone who is very loud and boisterous and confident. And so that was a challenge. So if you have tendencies to kind of overpower, humble yourself a little bit and listen.
Thank you, Linda. Laura, did you have something to add?
What my biggest challenge early on was that I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to be a consultant. I had to find a way to make $500 a month, and I had to accept the fact that this was the path, that this was going to get me where I wanted to go in my life. I had expectations about what I was going to do with my life that were not going to pan out. Expectations for professional accomplishments, that I could either do this or I could do that, but I couldn't have the family that I wanted and live the life that I wanted and be the professional woman that I wanted to be. And that was very tough to give up. A lot of it was out of my control. I was on a certain path in my professional life when I was in corporate finance. I traveled all the time. I was a relationship manager with all these big companies in Latin America. I went to Latin America all the time, and I did all this really cool, sexy stuff. And literally overnight, my job went from being frontline, top of the food chain, to being back office, overnight investment bullshit. And it was the way of the corporate world. And the more I worked, the less I earned, the more responsibility I got. And I had to realize that that wasn't the path. There's like that golden glow of like, oh, this is who you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, I can't do that and this. I can't be a full-time mom, or I can't be a good mom and great wife, blah, blah, blah. And so I had to make choices. It took me a while to realize that Pampered Chef was the path to be satisfied in my own life, to be okay with not having my name on a marquee someplace. Okay. There's still some ego involved, as a lot of us will know, but it took me a while to get out of my own way and say, okay, this is just a different way to be successful, but to have everything that's really important. So a lot of it was just getting out of my own way.
Awesome. Charisse, did you want to add, or do you want to go on to the next question?
We can go on.
Okay. Well, actually, this question is for you. For those of you that are doing block parties, are you having more sales from those shows?
I have an average of about over 650. I generally have, you run the gamut. So in 1 week, I would have $1,000 party. Of those 5 that I have, I will have usually 3 that are around 650, 600, 800, somewhere in there. And then I'll have a $300 party. And that's the numbers game. That's the way it is. That's why I booked 5, because generally I know 1 is, I leave that 1 is going to be the flop, drop, whatever. I'm happy, if it's qualified, I have bonus, it didn't flop, it didn't drop, I got 200 out of it. The other ones I know I'm going to have that higher average, because more people are seeing it. This month, sales have been a little bit lower this month. I think it's just some of the people are kind of that unknown. They've got teachers that are not sure they're going back to work or not. You don't know what the kids are doing. So does that mean that I'm going to have to be home and not go to work because I'm going to have to take care of my kids because they're not going to be home? People just don't. I have that very unknown for the fall coming up, I think. there has been some, I believe there has been some saturation of, I've been to, I've got people telling me, I've been to 4 parties in the last 6 months, and they're just pamper chefed out. So their orders are a little bit smaller, but I'm still getting the average. I have 3 parties this week. We are at 450, almost 700 and 1,050. So, I think my average is better because if the host is there and the host is participating, it's going to qualify, and most times it's 400 or better. So,
can I jump in? We do block parties. At least I teach block parties in my organization, and I always love the question, don't you see a drop in your sales? Actually, I think if you evaluated your parties that flop, that would have a $50 or a $75 order, and that would be it. I would say that I have fewer parties in my block parties that do not qualify because the peer pressure is there. Even if a host would have only had 15 or 20 people in a party, that would have been a low number. She's still going to be able to have an engaging party, and the guests that did join the party are going to be more engaged because they wouldn't have been necessarily engaged in the party by itself. The other reason why we teach block parties is I truly believe, and here this goes back to, go look at what a number of fast growing teams are doing, which is what we have tried to, set that culture in our organization. Is we want our new consultants to start off with 4 parties right away. And if you ask a brand new consultant to host 4 parties right away, their mind is blown and they're like, whoa, wait. I haven't even done 1 yet, and you want me to do 4? Are you lost your mind, lady? So if we can show them that 4 parties is 1 party, then they start out with a lot of success. And that's what we really want in our new consultants. And if you guys are new consultants on here, you can give me an amen, right? Because you want to start off with $1,000, $1,500 in your first week. Who doesn't want to start off with $1,500 in their first week? And that's just a super easy way to help brand new consultants learn how to do their block party. And our organization, we do launch parties for our new consultants. And if we have a new consultant, we say, bring 3 hostesses in with you. And we're training them all at the same time. So we're training our new consultant in a block party. So that's our take on block parties. I know there are some freakish consultants out there that are doing $40,000 and $50,000 a month, and they do 10 individual parties a week. And I'm like, that might be okay for you, but that is not okay for me. So
totally agree with you, Linda.
Totally
agree.
One of the things I want to say about block parties that was kind of an aha that changed my show averages is I started having the hosts do the public thank yous for every order. It goes along with what Linda said, is that when the hosts are thanking their own guests, all of the other guests see, wait, I'm supposed to be ordering, and oh, my friend is not getting any orders. I better get on the ball. And the number of my total flop parties has diminished fantastically since that. That's the only, I don't host coach in a group, but I do have all of my hosts do their own thank yous in there. I thank them privately as well.
Right.
But and I give them the graphics. I even give them the thank you graphics.
That's what I do as part of my hostess coaching. I used to do all the thank yous myself, and there could be 20 posts alone just for me saying thank you. And then somebody told me, well, that's crazy. No, make your hostess do that. Not make her, ask her to do that part of your hostess coaching. So right when I'm starting my host coaching, I'll send her 10 graphics and I'll say, you should be getting an email like I do every time a guest orders. So it means so much more if you thank them than me thanking them. And I thank them the minute I get the order. I click on their phone number. I send them a text message. Thank you so much for your order. On Charisse's show, it is so appreciated. And thank you for your patience about, shipping. I always make sure I say that, but I thank them personally and then I comment when she does her thank you post, I go in and I'll say, thank you so much, Laura, for your order. It's really appreciated, but the minute I started doing that, it takes so much less time. If you're doing 4 or more shows, and I do only individual shows, I'm not at the volume you guys are with the block parties, but if I'm trying to handle 4 shows at a time, it is a big thing for my host to do the engagements and to do the thank yous. And that's what I learned from Charisse. She needs to do that. No, she needs to do that, and they're absolutely fine with it. It goes back to Linda in the host coaching. If they know what you're expecting them to do as a partner with you, they're going to do it when you ask them to, so just send her 10 different thank you posts and let her pick whatever picture she wants to use. And she gets the email. And if I'm not seeing a thank you anytime during that day, I'll check, oh, did you get that notification that Jen ordered? Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I was working. No worries. And sometimes I'll say, do you want me to thank her? If she's like, so I'll put a thank you note in there myself. But so that's huge, guys. And it causes more involvement because they are looking and seeing, like, oh, Charisse is thanking her guests for orders. I haven't ordered from Debbie yet. You know what I'm saying? So, so that's and it's a real time saver for you.
And when that comes back around to you're asking your host 5 times at the end of the party, you're like, do you realize you were basically doing my job for me? You were working right with me, doing basically the stuff I was doing, posting the party. Like Laura said, you can get products or you can get a paycheck. What do you want? So it's a great way to, when they're thanking them. I will tell you on block parties, I encourage my hosts to go live on the first day of their party. And I said 30 seconds, 2 minutes max is all you got to do. Just thank everybody for coming. Let them know why you wanted to host a party or what's on your wish list, or share us a favorite product with us. Any of those ideas. And I will tell you, when they go live, that party on that host is crazy. It is always a super successful party. And guess what? I offer them a gift. I give my host lots of little gifts. It's a toaster tongs, big deal. But I've had hosts that have never gone live. They're like, I never go live. I've never been live before, but Charisse asked me to, so I'm doing it. Maybe they just really want those toaster tongs. They don't know what it is, but I don't know. But when they do that, it's crazy. I mean, the guests love it. And I have a host now that's been with me, oh my gosh, over like 3 years. She's done, I don't know, many parties. And her friends have done many parties. And she goes live into all of those parties every time. Her friends' parties, her parties, posting pictures, sharing what she's making all the time. And she knows I wanted to join my team. She believed me. She's like, I know where you're going. She goes, not yet. But
now, I do want to share something with you that I carried over from my live shows. If you've ever listened to me train on hostess coaching, live parties, I always say, I always enlist the help of my past hosts. So when I'm talking to my current host, I'll say like, hey, Jen, did you invite Tanya to the party? Oh, absolutely. Great. So when I know that she's gotten the invitation, has Tanya said, yes, she's coming? Yes. Perfect. I messaged my past host saying, Tanya, I'm so glad you're going to Jen's party. Could I ask you a huge favor? Could I make you my partner in crime during the show? Could you, hop in, do a comment, show a picture of all the stuff you got? Because I always ask my hostesses to photograph when their order is delivered. And Charisse taught me that to, what's in the box, so I have them post like, oh my God, my order came. Now it's like 2 months later, but that's okay. So I go to my past hosts and I'll say, could you post about this? Could you show? And then they'll go from there. They'll either go live, they'll post a video, they'll show, something that they made, I'm making dinner tonight. I'm using all of my Pampered Chef stuff, So enlist your past hostess to help the current host. That does wonders to you guys. So find out make sure your host is inviting the past host, and then reach out to the past host. Thank her again for being such a great show. Thank you for joining this party. Would you be willing to help me out? You know what I mean? And so that really works well. So I'm using things that I was doing in my live shows and bringing them over to the virtual. Okay, so that's a really effective way of getting more interaction from the group than just you, or even the hostess. And I've got hosts like Charisse said that they're posting every other minute, but it's great though. They're showing everything they earned, they're showing what they're doing with it, so the customers are loving it. So that's something I would recommend. Always, utilize your past host to be your advocate for you. She's going to promote you and the products better than you're going to.
Absolutely. Great tip. Thank you. All right, Linda, this one's probably for you. What is the one mistake that you see new consultants make?
Oh, I thought they were going to say, what is your biggest mistake? What is the biggest mistake that wow. Do I be nice and use my filter? Yeah. Number one is, I can't just give one. I would say that not trusting their trainer is one. Your trainer, your recruiter, your director, whoever is reaching out to help you, they really do want to help. They really do want you to be successful. There's nothing that brings more joy to a recruiter, whether you only have one person on your team or you have 101 people on your team. There's nothing more exciting to us than to help someone to find success in this business. And so I find it incredibly frustrating when new consultants do not listen. And that's, I guess, more of a frustration on my part, but maybe also a mistake on their part. They're not understanding who really is out there to help them. The second mistake that I think that they make is not listening when we say people will say no, and that's okay. That they're going to hear no a lot. They're going to hear no way more than they're going to hear yes. But they stop. It paralyzes them when they hear no. The first 1, 2, 3, 10, 15, 20 people that they reach out to, it paralyzes them. And I think that they don't understand that we hear no too. And then not giving it time, not giving it their time, like thinking, I think some consultants come in and think, oh, they're going to be an immediate rock star. And believe me, some are. But, some of us have to build that confidence, or we have to build that clientele. You have to build the system. You have to build your calendar so that you work the business, but you have to work. It's not just going to happen overnight.
It's not a get rich quick scheme, guys. This is what I think what's really something you have to explain to consultants. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. It's that simple. If you were opening an actual store, a brick building, what are you going to do to get customers in the door? How are you going to keep those customers loyal? How are you going to bring in new customers? And if you look at it with that kind of mentality, it's all related to what we're doing. Okay, so, and like Linda's saying, they have to trust the process. If you're their trainer and you're as successful as you want to be or aspiring for more, the system works. And that's what aggravates me, to be honest with you. And my whole philosophy is always been with every new consultant, I actually say this to them: I will match my time with your effort. It's that simple. Okay, because like Laura said and Tiffany said, let me know if you don't want my help, or let me know that if you really are just not interested in, getting the most you can from this business. And everybody has different levels of what they need. I know how much I need to make a month. Laura knows how much she needs to make a month. She started out only needing $500 a month. Then she needed to make the mortgage. Then she needed to make college tuition. Then, we all have different reasons. But like Linda said, if they're not willing to trust the process, it's hard to make them go further. Right, Linda? I mean, I find that If they're not, I mean, look at all the work, you know, especially like Charisse's system, Linda's system, Laura's system, my sad little system. But it is a system that's getting results. Do you know what I mean? So first, like Laura said, listen to them. What do they want? Okay, listen twice as much as you talk, which is really hard for us. Okay, but listen, and then say, okay, to achieve that goal, this is what needs to be done. You know, are you willing to start on this path? So nothing would make me happier than having your dreams fulfilled. It's really that simple. And tell me if I'm wrong, guys, but that's what I feel. I'm happier when a consultant does well more than anything that I'm doing, you know, because that's what, you know, that's the great thing about what we do. We can bring anybody what they need, but what they need is totally different for every single person on this call, right? Trust the system, trust the process, and then have them get on board. And when they give you permission for you to help them, that's where you take them where they need to go. You know, that's, I mean, that's my personal philosophy. You guys can definitely, you know, contradict it, but you'd be wrong. I'm only kidding. But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
You guys understanding that the whole point is if they don't really, you know, or they think they come in with these really big dreams, you have to sort of bring them back just a little bit saying, okay, let's go step by step. I know that's your goal is to make this amount every month, but the first goal should be to book however many shows or whatever it is that you want. If they're doing block parties or they're individual shows, this will give you this. Then let's make these shows work out well. Let's teach you how to get bookings from these shows, and let's teach you how to keep this customer base that you're building. And then eventually that's going to lead to your ultimate goal. Okay. Because a lot of them come in, oh, I want to make, you know, I want to make $8,000 a month. Well, so do I, you know, but it's like, okay, well, when you figure out how to do that, share with me. No, I'm only kidding. But the whole point is that's a nice goal, but is it going to happen that first month? No. It could. Some people are doing it, but it's not realistic. So let's just get your calendar full and make that our goal 6 months from now. But you know, if they're going to make $8,000 a month, they need to build a team. That's where the bulk of it is coming from.
Yep.
Right? It's got to be a step-by-step thing. And tell me, you know, tell me if I'm wrong, Laura, you know, Linda.
But no, but just a little factoid. Anybody who opens a brick and mortar business, a store, it's usually 2 years before they're profitable.
Exactly. I opened my own restaurant, and that's what, you know, we spent over $1 million. $1 million. I know that sounds like, oh my God, which is not a lot of money for a restaurant. If you're, I mean, in true reality. So when I said to my husband, I'm going to spend $99 to buy a kit, he goes, well, it's not $1 million, go for it. Do you know what I mean? It's all in perspective. But yeah, it took us, I mean, I didn't bring home a paycheck my whole entire first year in the restaurant. Whatever.
So, well, it's quick. This you can make money at this very quickly.
Right.
They just have to get started.
Exactly.
They just have to get.
I mean, you could very easily be in the black your very first month, if not your very first week. And that is really, for a business person, that is the coolest thing anybody can hear. I love nothing more than signing on a consultant who loves numbers. And when you can tell that consultant, he or she, that realistically, they can make $500 their first week if they're doing 5 virtual parties. And they're average parties, meaning 500 or better. They can bring home $500 that first week. So if they have a goal of doing $2,000 a month, they can do that as a virtual consultant if they're doing minimum 5 shows a week. Right? I mean, realistically, based on a $550 show, they're making $100 on every show. Their kit probably cost them, let's say they went for the ultimate. 2 shows, they're in the black. And then everything from there is profit. So that is the wonderful thing about it. And that's what my husband saw back then. Like, hey, as long as you make back the $99, what do I care? If I can spend $99 to $100 just going to the store for 10 minutes. I mean, think about it. So that's where you have to tell people what's your ultimate goal, but I like to do short term and then long term. Again, like Laura and Linda, Charisse have said, ask them what is their goal. And then break it down. It's that old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Okay?
All right, Jen, what else do we have?
All right, Laura, this one's for you. How do we get past the mindset of the market being saturated with Pampered Chef parties? I've had some people also tell me that they've been invited to so many parties in the last few months.
Right. Well, I actually stole this line from Tiffany, which is, "I am so glad you're being pampered," because you want to recognize that. And then, but I don't accept that line because there are no territories. There's no way that everybody in this country has been to a party. Not everybody has been a host. So again, are you accepting the objection? Okay. So the answer is I'm so glad you're being pampered. Does that mean you don't want to have a party right now, or you don't want to have a party ever? As my bookings, I am hearing that, but my bookings are not going down. Like Charisse says, like she's hearing that, but her show average isn't going down. So there's a disconnect between the words and the reality. But if you're accepting the words and you're still not going for the bookings and you're still not going for the sales, that's your issue, not the thing. I don't believe in saturation. I don't know that everybody, I actually don't know anybody who has all the Pampered Chef products that they want, except for a consultant.
Laura, I just had somebody say that to me. Seriously, this, you know, I just been to 4 parties in the last 3 months or whatever. And I'm like, I said, so you're still interested in a party? Well, yeah, but there's everybody's doing Pampered Chef. I'm like, well, how about in November? How about in October? And I booked her for October. Yeah. New products. I said, we're going to have a whole new shipping cycle. You know, I'm like, you're going to love, you know, all the new products will be out by then, you know. And she's like, okay. I said, your friends won't be having parties now, you know.
Right, now, and see what Charisse just said? She didn't let the money lie on the table. Okay, so you don't want to do it in August. I'm not letting you go without getting a date in October. But I love what she said. Our shipping cycle is going to be totally, you know, different than what you've been experiencing this summer. The new product line is going to rock your friend's world. And trust me, so she did not leave the money on the table. Okay.
Let's talk about the holiday parties. Let's talk about entertaining. Let's talk about getting you guys ready for family, hopefully coming over.
Exactly. I had somebody, Laura, you'll appreciate this. I think I told Charisse this too, and Nikki. A hostess said to me, I just asked, you know, well, would you like to do a show? Because we were talking. Oh, I had a friend of mine friend you on Facebook because I know she would love to watch all of your cooking segments. And I was just in a Pampered Chef party and I had to order something. I mean, talk about a negative Nelly, and I said, so what about you having a party? And she goes, the girl kept asking me if I wanted to do a show. And I said, no, I'm going to go to the best. I'm not saying that about me. I'm quoting her. I'm like, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So does that mean you're ready for a show? Oh, no, all of my friends are sending their kids off to college. So none of them have money. I said, Diane, how do you know that? And if they're sending their kids off to college, we have got the tools for them to outfit their dorm rooms or their first off-campus housing. You might be doing them a huge favor. She goes, no, you don't. I just went to a show. I didn't see any of those. I mean, so right there, she goes, you mean you have all this stuff that will go? And I said, trust me when I tell you, Diane, there is so much that they're going to appreciate with you doing, and don't assume they don't have the money. You don't know what they need or want. So what do you have to lose for trying out a show? And I booked her. You know what I mean? But when she said, you know, she was doing what we sometimes do. She was prejudging her friends. But when she mentioned they're going off to college, I go, aha, here you go.
Right. That goes back to the friends part of booking a party. Is there? She's like thinking about what her guests are thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And she was totally wrong. The show was fine. Was it $2,000? No, but hey, I'll take an $800 show when she wasn't going to book at all. And she goes, oh my God, are you kidding me? They're buying. I'm like, yeah, they're buying. But look at what they're buying. They ended up not buying anything college related. They bought what they wanted. All right. So that's how you take what Charisse says, turn it around. Don't leave that money on the table. She is not walking away, and I know her, without getting a date on her book. So if I can't get you for August or September, I'm going to get you to book for a holiday show in October or November. That's why she booked 6 months out. She loves and goes, oh, Feriale, I've got 6 shows already for January. I hang up on her then. I just hang up on her. Nick and I go, bye. But no, seriously. But she's smart. She wants to know she's got business. every month for the next 6 months, whether it's 4 shows, 5 shows, 2 shows, 1 show, she knows she will still be in business. And she's so confident in her hostess coaching and customer care that she's going to keep those bookings and make them worth her while and the hostess's while. This is where you have to trust the system and the process. That's really what it comes to, right? I mean, ask Linda. She knows that's what it takes. Get those bookings, you will make them work for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this next question, I'm actually going to bring in Tiffany because she asked to address this. So Tiffany, can you unmute yourself while I ask the question?
Yeah.
Thank you. Now that we're creating parties through our business page, what do you do with them when they're over? My business page now has a year's worth of parties listed on it. If you unlink them, where do they go? And do I still need to do something from them?
Okay, so what I have researched and found out is that you can have 300 groups under your business page. So even with a year's worth, I don't think anyone necessarily, instead of like people like the Cami Cruises of the world, have hit 300 groups created by their business page. So when you unlink them, you're removing your group from there, but you're probably still in there as a person. I do know some consultants who go into the groups and they delete every single person and then they delete the group. But that's the only way to delete a group completely from Facebook, is to delete every single guest. So that is something that can be very tedious, especially if you're doing, say, like a block party and you've got 4 hosts in there and they all added up 40 people. Like, that's a lot of unclicking, like, and to click, remove, yes, confirm, okay. So right now, I think it's fine that you're leaving them the way they are. I do know that some consultants go back and post specials in groups that are, a couple months old. Right now, I go in and as soon as I see something ship, I go in, I have one of my last posts is about shipping. So it's at the top. And so then every day or every 2 days, I'll go in to see which orders have shipped and I'll go in and tag those people. I did test this theory out back in January. I had a repeat hostess who wanted to host like 6 months later, and so the party fell in January. I did this for 5 hosts. We reused the group thinking I would be efficient and reuse the group, but it killed the algorithms because there had been no activity for months in that group. Nobody was seeing anything. Okay, so
That happens too.
even when you go back and you are like, oh, here's a special, and there were like 50 good people in there commenting, you still may only get 5 scenes out of that group. So I would much rather go send a customer connection email that would go out to everyone that way, as opposed to, let me go through SendShare, let me re-add back all these groups or like so that you could see them. Because I go into SendShare and remove that little heart so that they don't all show up. So with groups, I would just, unless you're hard pressed to unlink them all, I just leave them.
Do you archive them?
Sometimes I'll go in and archive, like, for example, there's been times, I'm sure you guys have experienced this too, where somebody goes through and it's like there's a video and they go share and they hit like every group that they're part of and these random videos start showing up. Then I'm like, yeah, let's archive that one because there's somebody in that group that does not understand Facebook. Mm-hmm. So that's when I go, okay, let me just archive that. And I guess on another note too, what kind of tying into block parties, I'm kind of with Feriale, I don't do block parties either, because if somebody from that group, even though I'm doing like 3 or 4 parties a week or whatever, if somebody in that week wants to become a consultant, I do turn that group into their customer community group. Yeah. So going forward, they don't have to re-invite everybody to another group. They're in there. So it's just, it's not like that any one way is wrong. You could definitely have told there are many different ways to do the same task through what we've shared today. But I don't archive groups. I don't remove people from groups. I don't think I've hit 300 groups. And I guess if I get to that point, Facebook will notify me or I'll get an error one day that I can't create any more groups. And then I'll go in and go, okay, let me start unlinking myself. But I'm still in there as a person. So, when you're creating a group, a party from your business page, the default one guest is you. So you can still go in there if you so desire. And I guess if you like have a teenager you want to punish, you could tell them to go in there and remove everybody and then delete the group. That would be fun.
Teenager, preteen, whatever works, right?
Husband.
Husband. Yeah.
All right, one last question, and then we'll move on to the wrap up. So Jenna says she's curious about the last chance first glance party. I may be wrong, but I thought guests could only shop one catalog. How does this work?
I think Laura wants to answer that.
Thank you, Tiffany.
So I love last chance first glance parties, and yes, you're right. If this works, you would have to place one order from the current catalog and a second order from the fall catalog. My personal opinion is that this year, the stuff that's going out is already gone. Like there's very little opportunity to do a last chance this year. So do a first glance. That's my opinion on this. So you're absolutely right that in the normal world, a last chance first glance for me is about getting bookings. It's not so much about getting sales right then. It's to tease people about why they should look to the fall. So last chance to get these products before they go away and then book for the fall. But this year I'm doing it completely differently. I'm offering my late August hosts the choice. Which would you rather do? A party right now with the August specials and the current catalog, or do you want this to be a September party? Because everything for me, with the way that I run my parties, if I started from the 25th of August on, it's going to close in September. So I'm dating them September 1st, and I have 4 parties that are expected to close on September 1st, but they're using the new fall catalog. And they love the fact that they're the first to see things. They really want to be that exclusive group of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be the first to show my friends the new stuff.
Hey, Jen, before you wrap up, can I comment on something that was said? And I don't want to dismiss what she said because I think it's super, super important. But Lisa and then the other Lisa mimicked or agreed with what she was saying, is that she feels like it's really hard in a business like this not to compare yourself to other people. And I'm just going to speak from experience. And, Lisa, I want you to think, and I don't want to make this about me. I want to make this about all of us. But I want you to think about the scenario where so many of us have been, and we are currently right now, where we've been in the business a while. And you look at where you are and you're like, why can I not become an executive director in 18 months like some of these other people did? And you're constantly comparing yourself. Well, man, how do they get 30 bookings on their calendar? How do they do this? How do they do that? It's so easy to compare yourself to them. But the first thing that you have to do is you have to love where you are right now and then self-evaluate. Why am I not where they are? If that's where I want to be, then why am I not? If you don't want to be there, then definitely don't compare yourself. There's no comparison at all. They're there because they either need to be there or they have a strong desire to be on the top or fast growing or whatever it is. But what you need to realize, and what we all need to realize, is that it's all here. It's not about what someone else is doing. It's not about why can't I. If you put it that way, then what you're doing is you're self-defeating yourself. And that's where you need to do some introspection. And I think that's the word I'm supposed to be using. My vocabulary is very small. But you do have to just look at yourself and say, okay, if that is where I want to be, then am I taking the steps to be there? Am I being honest with myself? Or am I using the word busy way too much? And I don't really take the time and I don't work my business like they do. And I see that, and I am a comparison person too. And that's why I just felt very compelled, because Lisa, for the last 5 years, we have been watching, and I know Laura and Feriale can attest to this. We have been watching these people come into this business and they're fast track directors. And then 3 months later, they're fast track advanced. And then, oh my God, you were just an advanced and now you're a senior. Oh, wait a minute. Oh no, now you're an exec.
Executive. Linda has nailed it right on the head. Linda, I can't really think of a better thing to do. Now you're talking to us old guards and we're watching you guys doing this stuff and I'm like, what the blank is going on? And when you've been at the top, if you look at some of us who are on here, we were always top 20 in either sales, recruiting, I mean, Circle of Honor here, guys, Legacy Award here. And I'm seeing all of these things happening and I'm like, oh my God, like what? And then what did I do? Of course, I started beating myself up where I didn't want to do anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, I'm just a senior director, so nobody cares about me. And I really don't care. I'm happy as senior. Leave me here as senior. Ask my team. I say this all the time. Leave me as senior for the rest of my career. I'm okay with it. And then I realized I was lying through my teeth. I was literally lying to myself to make me feel comfortable of where I was. Okay? Like, am I that stupid that if I became an executive, I'm going to walk away from, no, don't promote. Do not promote because I'm happy as a senior. That's crazy. Crazy talk, I tell you. Okay, but I had to evaluate myself and realize, you know what? Let's call it what it is. I'm the old dog. I was very comfortable doing what I knew I was good at. Let it be. And now what's happening? My own directors are flying by me. And that makes me ecstatic. I'm not going to lie to you there. That makes me so happy. But then I realized, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And Linda's gone through this. Laura's gone through this. Okay, what are they doing? You know what? They're working harder than I am. And that came down to be the honest to God truth. They're working their business a lot harder than I was working my business. Okay, so they were focusing. I was always selling. For me, it was sell, sell, sell. Didn't care about anything else. Okay, and I realized if I'm going to get to executive, I have to be a better leader and I have to think about recruiting so I can build my personal line to have people to help reach their goals. So you have to take a little bit of introspection on yourself and what your true goal, but you have to be, it was a word, Linda, you did very well. And you have to be brutally honest with yourself. So if I don't want to do something for my business, I just get on my phone and I play my games. I own it, but I know what I'm doing. And that's not going to get me any further up. So either accept and love where you are and say, hey, you go, girl, you're doing phenomenal, or shut up. Okay? Because if you want more, they're not getting it. It's not falling in their lap. They're working for it. You know, so I love what you said, Linda. That to me, are everything that I've learned today, that truly resonated with me. Because I was there. We've all been there. It doesn't matter how good you are. You're always wondering, what the hell are they doing? I mean, I had the record for the most sales in a year, and then, you know, other consultants came and blew my records out the door, and now they're doing it in a month. I'm like, whoa. Okay, so either love where you are or work harder to get to where you want to be. Okay, so I'm using the affirmations that Charisse has been beating into my head, you know, and because it's true. I don't do anything, things I know everything. No, I don't know how to get myself to where I want to be. Or if I'm happy where I am, truly happy where I am, then I need to stop talking about it. So I'm going to stop talking now.
You also want to do comparisons. When you're, the only comparisons you should be doing are about yourself.
There you go.
Have your skills improved from last week, from last month? Have you grown as a person? Are you further along than you were when you started? Celebrate your wins and don't worry about anybody else's wins, because it's your wins that count. You know, I look at other people and go, why am I not a senior director now? I should be a senior director. Like, of course, we all could be. But you know what? For a while, I didn't do all the work. I wasn't doing all the recruiting. I wasn't asking every person. But you know what? I am now. But that's my skill. I've now grown as that person. I now ask. You know why I wasn't? I was afraid.
No.
And again, you have to tell yourself you're not afraid. But
No.
compare yourself, only compare yourself to what you're doing and what you've done.
I was going to say there are like a lot of people on this call that kind of have the same challenges or goals. And if I hadn't gotten into an accountability group with Linda a year and a half ago, I would not have been here like where I am. And so I would challenge you guys to find some like-minded individuals, whether they are within your organization or they are across organizational lines, and find out who has similar goals as you, whether it's number of shows a week or certain title goals. And we are it sucks. We meet at 7:30 in the morning, and we have 2 girls in the Central Time Zone, and they get up at 6:30, and we meet for a solid hour every Wednesday, and we go through our challenges, what we're happy about, what we need help with. And we're not each other's uplines, and we're kind of more each other's like a sideline if we're even in the same organization. So finding someone that can help you through some of this stuff that isn't necessarily your upline, I think has been very important to get to your next step, even if it's just somebody that's going to help you get bookings. And it's okay if you want to bitch and complain for a couple minutes. You can go below the line for a few minutes, but you cannot stay there or this business will not work for you. So, you know, if you say, okay, I have a goal to do 10 parties a month, find someone else who's in that same situation. Maybe it's somebody who has kids the same age as you, or they live in the same time zone, or, you know, whatever it is. Y'all could use this group to connect with each other to start. And if this group doesn't work for you, maybe go to your upline and say, is there anybody in our organization that kind of fits my same characteristics, and you could help us meet up with each other. And then you don't need your upline to facilitate it. Like, we don't have a hard and fast agenda that we go over every week, but we do talk about our struggles. We celebrate our wins and really push each other. So if, like, I remember one time Linda's like, I'm going to send 50 thank yous this week. And so when she didn't, we were allowed to kick her in the butt.
Yep.
You know, and so, but when she says, you know, but I did do, this was on my goal sheet and I did do it, then we can celebrate that.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 people who shall remain nameless that every Wednesday, I mean, we talk all the time, but every Wednesday we have a call, and they are my, you know, my favorite people in the whole industry, in the whole business. They're family to me. But you know what though? They call me out on my bullshit. And you need to have friends that will call you out on your bull. They know when you're full of it, and they have no problem telling you to go correct. Okay? And that's what I need. We all need that person. We may not like to hear it. And then we have a rule. Are you going to bitch for 5 minutes? Okay, your time's up. Let's move on to something constructive. And you need that. You need people. You can go to an event for a minute or 2, but you need to move forward in the process. Find your people. Find them. They're probably sitting here and you're looking at their face on the screen.
Yeah, because obviously if they put in a full Saturday here, they're dedicated to their business in some way, shape, or form. So that's why I'm saying start with the people that are in the box next to you.
Yep, exactly. Great tips, everyone. Anybody have any last minute things to add?
I do. I want to add one thing. I want you to close it all up and wrap it up and put a bow on it. But if there are people that still want to ask questions and they want to hang out in here, I am very willing to hang out, because as Tiffany just said, there were people in this group that were just trying to soak up as much as they can. And I would be happy to stay on.
I'll stay with you, Linda. I'm more than glad to ask, you know, anything based on Linda.
No, but you wrap it up and you put a bow on it, and then we'll see if anybody has any questions. Now, you can't just sit here and wait for people to ask questions and it be silent. You kind of have to like have some thoughts in mind that you want to ask.
Conversation is a 2-way street.
That's right.
All right, guys. So I'm just going to go right into wrapping up, and then we'll end the recording, and then whoever wants to hang out and ask more questions, you guys are all free to stay on. I will keep the link open. Okay, so this morning I had mentioned, for those of you that were on this morning on Zoom, because I tried to do this on Facebook Live and I was having technical issues, I had mentioned that this retreat was originally Tanya's baby. She and I have worked all year to bring her vision of sharing knowledge with every consultant to life. COVID happened in March and we had to postpone, and you guys still wanted to attend. We were so grateful that you were all willing to hang in there with us. As the new date approached, COVID is still a major concern and causing many events to cancel. So we decided at the very last minute that we didn't want to let you down and went virtual. Hey, if Feriale can pull it off at the last minute, we could do it too. And we did.
You did.
Then something very unexpected happened. Tanya ended up in the hospital with a major health scare. Even though she is still battling her issues, she continues to be an inspiration for us all and insisted on moving forward with this retreat. With the event being a week away, the silent partner, that's me, had to step up and continue to bring her vision to life. So I want to start off by thanking Tanya for not giving up on your vision and for trusting me to see it through. Thank you everyone for sticking with us and sharing this event with your teams and helping it grow to what it is right now. Word of mouth is always the best referral, always. Cooking consultant or live or virtual consultant, word of mouth is the best. Thank you to Laura, Feriale, Linda, and Charisse, and Tiffany for jumping in too, for taking the time out of your busy schedules to share with us this weekend. Thank you, Feriale, for all of your help and keeping me sane this past week, because I don't know if I'd have been able to pull it off without your help.
My pleasure, my friend. My absolute pleasure. Anything for you too. You know that.
Thank you. We're overjoyed at the amazing turnout that we've had today. This has been more than we ever imagined, and we are grateful that you chose to spend a Saturday in the summer with us. We hope that you have all gained some golden nuggets to implement in your businesses. Now go out there, rock your businesses, and remember what Linda says. It is never too late to be great. Thank you.
Jen's gonna cry now. Don't